streaming. And I'm going to let me put up our little opening here. Let everybody know we're here. And we will start the show.
Waiting for the stream to kick in so I can do a quick check.
Yeah, just make sure we're not echoey. Echo. Chickadee chick. Check.
Sounds
one.
good so far.
Awesome. So no echo. No echo.
We're all good.
All right. Good. Well, we are going to start a show right now. So here we go in 3, 2, 1. Greetings, programs, and I would say May the 4th, but that was yesterday, and today is Revenge of the 5th. My name is Jason Robbins.
And I am everyone's favorite Jedi Academy dropout, Derek Diamond.
Yeah. So did you do anything special for May the 4th? I watched the first episode that dropped this last week last night. I haven't watched the last two.
I watched episodes 1 and 2, Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. I'm a Phantom Menace defender, and is it the best Star Wars movie? No, but I think it gets some unnecessary hate. Because it's got some of the coolest things in the entire series. You've got Darth Maul, you've got the pod racing, which is one of the coolest sequences in all of Star Wars. You've got Qui-Gon Jinn or Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn. I like Liam Neeson in practically everything he does. What was crazy was, as I was watching it, I'm thinking, Ewan McGregor looks so young compared to now. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that came out in 99.
Yeah,
so
that was almost 30 years ago. 27 years ago.
Yeah.
It was filmed.
What's crazy is 2027 is going to be the 50-year anniversary of the original movie.
Don't remind me, because I was born 3 days after the original Star Wars was released.
You'll turn the big 50 that year.
Yes, in 2027. So let's not talk about that till 2027.
Well, on a different, similar but different note, I've been meaning to watch Andor, but I haven't had a chance to yet. But I've been hearing it's really good.
So do you mean by you haven't watched Andor, like you haven't watched the first season either?
I haven't watched the newest season.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't started it yet.
I would say it starts off a little slow. I'll say that. A lot of the Mon Mothma stuff was kind of tedious, but everything else was kind of it just felt like it dragged with the Mon Mothma stuff. Just kind of dragged everything too much. I feel like they could get to where they need to go a little faster. I think we're having too slow of a burn with those first 3 episodes.
I feel like that's becoming more and more common.
Yeah.
With a lot of shows. And kind of going back to episode 2, it's in my bottom tier of, if I were to rank all the Star Wars movies, it would be probably in my bottom 3. And I wanted to see if it was still like as cringe as I remember it to be. Because when The Rise of Skywalker came out, I did a rewatch of all 8 movies beforehand. And sure enough, like 20 minutes into Attack of the Clones, I'm like, yep, still not great.
Yeah, I feel like I do like Phantom Menace. It's not one that I go back and watch very often, but I watch it. I've seen it more times than Attack of the Clones. I do just feel like they could have combined the best parts of those 2 movies into one movie, because a lot of 2 just doesn't really. There's no point to it, and I hate to say that. I mean, and there's a lot of intrigue and all that kind of stuff, but I'll be honest, 2 is my least favorite. That and Rise of Skywalker are my 2 least favorite Star Wars anythings, other than the thing we shall not talk about.
The thing we did the commentary for.
Yes, we don't mention its name here. It has to do with a certain holiday.
Yeah. Funny enough, I saw a Life Day wallpaper online. I think it was yesterday, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to download this. Shout out to Brandon Rutledge,
Yeah.
who's in the chat. Thanks so much for. I'm sorry you're feeling sick, but glad you're here joining us.
Yeah, I hope he feels better soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're my two least favorite. Also, is Attack of the Clones and Rise of Skywalker. I wish, like, I love the Clone Wars cartoon,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
wish they would have incorporated more of it in live action. Like, I know we got the beginning of the Clone Wars at the end of Attack of the Clones, but man, if we had gotten a little bit more in live action, that would have been so great.
And I feel like Ahsoka kind of touched on it a little bit, and we need more of that. I want more.
When we got that sequence of Hayden Christensen in Clone War battle armor, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I geeked out over that.
Dude, if I see Ewan McGregor show up in the Clone War armor that he had in a sequence, that's just going to complete it for me. I'll be fine after that. Just show me that. That's all I need.
Yeah, you can just close up shop after
Yeah,
that.
we're good. You can close up
Yeah.
Star Wars after that. We're good.
Yeah.
But speaking of Star Wars, anything else you want to cover before we jump into the top 5 list tonight?
I did want to say real quick, thank you to our good friend Joey Image for filling in for
Yeah.
me last week. I had a rare. I've never filmed a weekday wedding before, even though I've heard of them. I've never worked one, and I was so sore after that day was over because I worked an 11-hour shift,
Ouch.
and I was moving constantly. There was just so much stuff going on. My whole body from like head to toe was sore when I got home. And I didn't get home till like 10:30, 10:45 at night.
And seriously, what kind of psychopath gets married on a Monday? Who are these people? I want to know. Get them on the show here. I want to interview them.
I'd rather not. If I'm being honest.
But it was a good episode. We love having Joey here, and he
Yeah,
had
it was
some-
really fun.
Yeah, it was a good episode. Thank you for Joey for stepping in. And on that note, I am in the process of buying a house right now. So if everything goes through, I might be taking a week or two off when it happens, so I can get moved and get everything set up. So I don't know yet. So I'll keep you guys updated as it happens. But I hope I don't have to take too much time off to get things set up and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see when it happens. It's supposed to be at the end of this month, so we'll keep you posted.
Yeah, for sure.
But before we do anything else, we had a top 5 list to do this week, Derek, and I don't know about you. This was one of the hardest top 5s I've ever had to do. And before we do that, I want to play this right here, just as a little intro. That is, of course, from Super Star Wars. If you don't know that, that chip tune version of the Star Wars theme just brings back all kind of nostalgia.
Oh, yeah. There's just something about hearing that opening theme, whether it's in the actual movies or a video game. It's so good.
But
I love it.
If you want, I'll go ahead and start tonight's lists.
Yeah.
I had a lot of runners up. I would have had a lot more, but I had to whittle down the runners up too. So there's so many good Star Wars games out there. But at my number 1 runners up spot is Shadows of the Empire for the N64. I don't know if you people know what a big deal that was back in the 90s, because there was a time when there was no Star Wars to be had. Kids, there was no Disney Plus. Disney didn't own Star Wars. It was owned by a man a long time ago in a galaxy far away by the name of George Lucas. And George
Uncle
Lucas
George.
is kind of a lazy man when it comes to making making stuff. And we went about 15 years between Star Wars projects, but we didn't have any movies, but we did have Shadows of the Empire for the Nintendo 64. We had comic books, we had books, and it was set up. Like, they even had action figures for Shadows of the Empire. I mean, it was like a full-on Star Wars movie release, but just no movie.
You know, I wish, and it wouldn't be really possible to do now that, you know, Carrie Fisher's no longer with us, but even if they had done an animated version,
Yes.
and in the same style as, say, like the Clone Wars or all the other animated shows that they've done, it would have been so cool if they had done that. And yeah, Shadows of the Empire was an event because, as you mentioned, Uncle George, while I will forever appreciate him bringing Star Wars into the world, he hasn't done the best with it.
Yeah.
I will say that. And we got so long between the originals and the prequels because Return of the Jedi came out in 83 and Phantom Menace came out in 99. So there was really nothing by that point. But then, you know, around the time that Shadows of the Empire came out, you had the video game, which to me was at the forefront. And you got to really kind of immerse yourself in the world of Star Wars. And I know there were other games too, but that was really the first one that I can remember outside of maybe the Super Star Wars games where I felt like I was in that world.
Yeah, and you go back and play it now, and it's kind of ugly and clunky. But at the time, it's what we had, and I loved it. I'm still to this day, when you're fighting IG-88 on what is it, Ord Mantell, it's still one of the most frightening video game sequences I've ever played.
Yeah, and even in the beginning, when you're in the Rebel base on Hoth, and you have to fight the ATST with like no direction on what to do.
I'm just gonna shoot the knees. Shoot the knees.
Yeah. It's still like one of the most shocking beginnings to, well, not the very beginning, but one of the first levels that you play in Shadows of the Empire is that. But yeah, no, Shadows of the Empire is a must. Whether it's a honorable mention or a top 5, it's got to be on the list.
And also, in 1993, I began my journey into PC gaming. And these two games fall into that category because I had both of these for the PC at the time. And it's TIE Fighter and Dark Forces. Those two games, I mean, you can go get I think there's a remaster of Dark Forces now, if I'm not mistaken. Or you can still go to get it on Steam, I believe. Or Good Old Games, wherever you want it. Those games are good. And they, at the time, that's all we had was video games at the time, and they were so fun to play.
I still have yet to play them, but I've said this story numerous times. You know, I used to go over to my uncle's house after school when I was a kid, and he's the one that got me into Star Wars. And he would play these games, specifically these two, and I would just sit and watch. It was so much fun.
They were so good. And of course, I have two more for runners up. One is The Force Unleashed, which I played, which was available for the PS2, I believe, PS2 and 3, or was it just the PS3 and the Xbox 360?
It was PS3 and Xbox 360.
Yeah, the Force Unleashed, dude, you got to pull down a Star Destroyer as a Dark Jedi, or a Sith apprentice. Like, where else are you gonna do that?
Nowhere I can think of.
And another game that kind of falls in that same category of game, Jedi Fallen Order, one of the more recent of the Star Wars games. I love Fallen Order. That game was so immersive, and I love the storyline of it. I love being able to build your own lightsaber and like have your own moves and like all the exploration. Like I fell in love with that game, and I'm scared that if I get back into it, I won't be able to find my way out again.
Such is the way of the Force.
Yes. For my actual list, up at number 5. Ooh, Rampage in the chat room. What's up,
Rampage?
For my number 5 on my list is Super Star Wars for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Yes, this game is hard as hell. You will throw your controller into the wall, but hey, if you were like me and my brother back in the day, we had Nintendo Power, we had Electronic Gaming Monthly, and we found the Infinite Lives cheat code for that game, and we stayed up for 2 days to beat this game. And we did. We finished. It's one of the few Super Nintendo games I actually finished back in the day.
Yeah, you're more dedicated than I am because I still have yet to. I don't think I've beaten any of the Super Star Wars games because they are difficult, but you're in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So it's so fun.
And they're just insane. If you've never played those games, just go try it. It's like Super Meat Boy ain't got nothing on the Super Star Wars games.
Nope.
At number 4, this goes along with TIE Fighter and Dark Forces. My favorite of the PC flight simulator games was Star Wars Rebel Assault for the PC back in I think it came out in '93, and I had a purple joystick, and I don't remember what brand it was, but it was like a purple flight stick. And for my computer, and I would just sit and pretend that I was an X-Wing pilot and for hours on end playing this game. And yes, it is an on-rail shooter, but it's got cutscenes, it's got the music, it's got everything you wanted at the time for a Star Wars game.
This one I don't really have any memory of. Like I can distinctly remember TIE Fighter and Dark Forces, but I don't think I've seen. I know I haven't played it, but I don't know if I've seen any gameplay of this either.
Yeah, you go check it out. I mean, it doesn't look great anymore, but man, at the time, this was such a fun, just on-rail shooter, and I still can remember the cutscenes and all the kind of everything for. I played it so much. It was my favorite of those 3 out of TIE Fighter, Dark Forces, and Rebel Assault. This is actually part 2 not of Rebel Assault. There was Rebel Squadron for the N64, but my favorite was the sequel to Rebel Squadron, Squadron 2 Rogue Leader for the GameCube, which I think I reviewed that not too long ago. And man, those games, those Rebel Squadron games for the GameCube hold up like crazy. They look great, they play great. And just, man, doing the trench run on the GameCube is epic.
Yeah, that's always what I think of whenever I play this game. You know, I remember Rogue Squadron for the N64, and it was a blast. But this took it to a whole nother level. With everything from, you know, the Death Star trench run, from the Battle of Hoth. It was so good.
Had everything you wanted. It still has everything you want. If you have a GameCube, actually, you know what you need to do? You need to go, if you don't have a GameCube, go buy a GameCube and buy Rebel Squadron 2 Rogue Leader for the GameCube. And you will thank me.
I've still got my copy somewhere. I don't think I have I think the third one was called Rebel Strike.
Yeah.
I don't think I have that one. I do remember playing it, but I don't have the memories that I do for, Rogue Leader.
I saw that one at a antique shop not too long ago, but I wanted too much money for it, so I didn't get it.
That's all about the money.
My number 2, and now I know everybody loves the Star Wars Pod. It's great. I love the Star Wars Pod, but you could not get any more quarters out of me than the Star Wars Trilogy sit-down arcade game that came out in 1988. I think I probably put all of my retirement in quarters into that game when it came out.
I've seen pictures of the Star Wars Trilogy arcade game, and it's really cool.
It's so cool. If you've never gotten to play it, I feel bad for you because it's one of the greatest sit-down arcade cabinets of all time. I mean, you get to play all 3 movies. You get to play the first Death Star. You get to play Hoth. You get to play the second Death Star. It's everything you need in one arcade cabinet. And you even have Obi-Wan telling you to use the Force, Luke. Like, it's crazy. You know, Han Solo comes flying in and knocks Darth Vader out into space. It's so freaking cool. I want one in my house. Now,
Maybe one day.
for my number one, I know this is kind of cheating, but I combined 2 games into one. KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, 1 and 2 at my number one spot. I dare you to find a better Star Wars game than the KOTOR games.
Yeah, KOTOR really kind of, it was a, pun intended, a game changer when the first one came out, because it explored a period that we've never really gone to. It takes place years and years before the movies. So you get to see like the Jedi at the peak of their power. And you know, with the Sith and everything, it's a really immersive story too. I personally prefer the first one a little bit more than the second one.
Yeah.
But they're both really good.
But yeah, I think if you play them as one, if you played them one after another as one big story, then it kind of works. But, you know, when we were playing 1 and then you fell in love with 1 and then 2 didn't come out till a couple of years later, it was kind of like, I want to go back and play the first one. But if you play them all as one big story, it's awesome.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But that was my list. Derek, let's hear yours.
All right. So my honorable mentions, first up, we have Shadows of the Empire for the reasons that we mentioned a few minutes ago. All of us Star Wars fans that were salivating for new content.
Yeah.
It was like we found an oasis in the middle of the desert when it comes to Shadows of the Empire. We've discussed this for years on this show. How is this not canon? And why has it not been like further explored? It has a great story. It's got a great new character in Dash Rendar. It actually coincides pretty seamlessly with Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. To me, it's canon.
Yeah.
And I know that doesn't make it canon, but in my mind, it is. And that's what matters to me. Next up is Super Star Wars, again, for the reasons that you mentioned. I do really like Super Return of the Jedi.
I do too.
Empire is good too, but when I was thinking about which one I wanted to put in my list, the first one is the one that I always go to with the most sentimental value and the most memories.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why it edged out. But I like all 3 of them, honestly. One of the most underrated games for the GameCube, and I don't think we've reviewed this yet, is Bounty Hunter for the GameCube. It's
good.
You get to play as Jango Fett, one of the coolest characters, even though he was only in one movie. You got to play as a bounty hunter, and it was so refreshing to not play as like a Force user or a Jedi. And I wish they would have explored that a little more. I know that we remember the infamous Star Wars 1313 game that was supposed to come out before it was announced that Disney was buying Star Wars. And it looked like we might be going back to kind of that exploring the underworld of Star Wars and not so much worrying about the Jedi and the Force all the time. But we'll have to rectify the Bounty Hunter review soon, because it's a really, really fun game.
Well, you know, the one game I wanted to put on my runners-up list that kind of goes along with Bounty Hunters was Rebel Commandos, or Rebel Commando.
Yeah.
That game's great, too.
See, we could have done like a top 20.
Yeah, we should have.
for this, yeah. And my last one for honorable mentions is the original Battlefront, not the money scam that EA put out a few years ago, but the original Battlefront and Battlefront 2 were so fun. Like, you could get sucked in for hours playing Battlefront. I again, kind of like with KOTOR, I lean towards the first one as opposed to the second one, but I like both. But I only wanted to include one, so I picked the first one. Yeah. Moving into my actual top 5, number 5 is Jedi Fallen Order. This was what I had been wanting for years when it comes to playing as a Jedi because you get to build your own lightsaber. The combat system is great. It's very fast paced, like you would want in a modern Star Wars game where you play as a Jedi. It falls into that story of being between episodes 3 and 4. I think it takes place around 5 years after
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things about the game, like you said about building your own lightsaber, is you can have different style of lightsabers and you have different stances that you can use in different situations. And it's just, there's so much thought went into that game. It's much appreciated.
Oh, 100%. Number 4, Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga. I know it's a Lego game, but it's also a Star Wars game. This was the only game that I ever got 100% achievements on for the Xbox 360. I reviewed this a few weeks ago. It is so addictive and so fun. I will lose track of time playing Lego Star Wars because not just playing through all the movies and the humor that it incorporates, but the fact that you can unlock so many different characters, even down to the little, I can't remember their names, but the Gonk droids.
Yeah, yeah.
You can even play as a Gonk droid, which is kind of crazy, but they're so fun. I love. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, Mushmouth in the chat room was saying, I actually played Star Wars games for this list. It was fun.
Shout out to Mushmouth. Number 3 is Rogue Squadron 2 Rebel Leader. Again, for the same reasons that you mentioned earlier. It took what was great about the N64 game and just made it so much better. The graphics are underrated. Getting to go through kind of all the high points of the movies was really fun, especially that trench run.
So good.
I can still remember playing it for the first time, and it's one of those gaming memories that I'll never forget because it reminded me of watching the movie for the first time.
It just amazed me when I reviewed it a while back was how well the graphics hold up in this game for being what year did it come out?
Let's see.
What year did that come out?
Rebel Leader. No, I don't want to know what an actual Rebel Leader is. I know what a Rebel Leader is. Let's see.
Let's see. It was 2000. North America was November 18th, 2001. So
okay, so this
almost
this
25 years ago this game came out.
This was a launch title for the GameCube then.
Yeah, I think
because it came out in November of 01.
Yeah.
But
Insane.
yeah, Rebel Leader is great. Let's see. Number 2 is the original Knights of the Old Republic. Again, it's because it tackled a period that I knew little to nothing about, and I wish that, like Shadows of the Empire, that some of this was canon, because you feel like you got to learn so much more about the lore of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because you had heard stories about, like the Jedi being this almost unstoppable entity for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah.
So to see them at their peak was really fun.
Not only that, but the Mandalorians.
Oh yeah, the Mandalorians, absolutely. But my number 1, and this might surprise people, my number 1 is The Force Unleashed. And I say that because this was like, in The Wizard of Oz when Dorothy goes to Oz and everything becomes color.
Yeah.
This, to me, took gaming in Star Wars to a whole new level.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the previews for it, seeing all these force powers that you could have, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like you're actually in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So in the first level, you play as Darth Vader because you're on Kashyyyk. And the first thing you do is you use the Force to wipe out this giant wooden wall. And what I said, I will not repeat on this show because we try to keep things PG-13. But it sucked me in. The story is incredible. I love the Star Killer character. There are so many cool Easter eggs from, when you find this hunter's hut. I believe it's on Kashyyyk, and you see the heads of the three creatures that Anakin, Padme, and Obi-Wan fought in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
You see Jar Jar Binks frozen in carbonite, which was hilarious. But the thing that made me geek out the most, well, there's two things. You mentioned earlier being able to pull down a Star Destroyer out of orbit was insane. But whenever you fight Star Killer's robot Proxy, and he has these different programs inside of him that he can activate. Like he can basically turn into different characters like Obi-Wan. Anyway, the one that made me geek out was he turns into Darth Maul.
Yeah.
And you fight Darth Maul. And it cues up Duel of the Fates, and it just, man, it sucked me in like no other Star Wars game. So it will likely always be my number one.
And it's the guy who does the voice of Darth Maul in the
Sam Witwer.
Yeah, Sam Witwer. But yeah, and Mushmouth said it was on another level at the time, and yes, I don't think people understand. Like, this was the game that, like, we had games like Jedi Academy and things like that before, but this was the game that established how to play a Jedi or a Sith from that moment forward.
And not to mention all the alternate storylines that you could take.
Mm-hmm.
You can either become a Jedi, or you can take Vader's place at Emperor Palpatine's side.
I wish there were a way to mind wipe myself so I could have these experiences all over again for some of these games.
Yeah. There's just something special about Star Wars games. I know we're both big Star Wars fans, but there's just something about the games that, and I don't want to say that they replicate seeing the movies for the first time, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Some of them really nail it. I mean, yes, it is Star Wars, so there is some bad games out there, and I'm sure some people are going to troll us with some of the, like the Kinect Star Wars dancing thing.
I almost put that on my list just for kicks and giggles. But man, I saw some gameplay of that, and I said, hell no.
Yeah. Well, that's going to bring us to the end of our list. So before we go into your list, Derek, do you want to do our Patreon shout-outs?
As always, we like to shout out our awesome patrons over at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. We want to shout out Riley, Romualdo Marquez, Mr. Wally Phelps, the DM himself, Wally Phelps, Nick W., Eld the Zombie, Yup Fed, a.k.a. Knife, James, a.k.a. at Jimbo Jr. over on our Discord, Raven, Danny House, Justin Nispel, Daniel Salmon, Mr. B. Res Coffee himself, Mike Eveland, Tyler Watson, AxeBlade07, the official beat writer of the Nerd Cave Retro Show, Mr. Armez Jackson, Carlos Longoria, also known as I Am the Rampage, Staff Sergeant Sketch, Gus and Penny, Matthew Salmon, violinist, pianist, and overall enjoyer of music, Mr. Joey Potato. Did he put that in there?
No, I put it in there last week.
Oh, okay. And last but not least,
Mama Diamond.
Donna Diamond. Thank you all so much for your continued contributions and keeping the lights on for us here at the Nerd Cave Retro Podcast. I feel like I'm a broken record saying this. If you want to join our Patreon, now is the perfect time because we are in the middle of the Nerd Cave Retro Quest Dungeons and Dragons campaign.
Yes.
It's getting pretty tense, my friend. We fought
Wally knows
we
how
had-
to push my buttons. Let's just say that.
I feel like that was his only goal for the the last installment, and it was like he teased what was going to happen,
Yeah.
and we're thinking, well, maybe he's just saying that and he'll go in a different direction. But in my mind, I'm like, no, I know exactly where this is going.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you haven't checked it out yet, we recorded part 2 of our Dungeons and Dragons campaign a couple of weeks ago, and I'll say this: there's a certain '80s movie that my friend and co-host here does not care for.
Nope.
That was heavily mentioned
Yeah.
throughout this recording, and if you're a salami fan, you will like the episode. I know that makes no sense, but once you listen to
Yeah.
it, it will make perfect sense. But yeah, you also get your own RSS feed with 0 ads for as little as $1 a month. You can find that in your couch. You can find it in your car. My wife and I, we've spent the weekend cleaning our house, and we found over $1 and change. So chances are you can do the same. And if you want to be a part of our awesome Patreon community, just head over to patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. And for new patrons, be sure to send us your social media info so we can give you a proper shout out.
And up first, so should we do Discord first, or do you want to do the Facebook first?
We usually save Discord for last, so
Okay.
let's do that first.
Okay, let me get over here. And the first person to pop up with their top 5 list was Mr. Wally Phelps himself at the Real Big Wall.
It was BJ Wandland.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a little bit higher.
Oh, wait,
on
I gotta
the
go a
list.
little higher here. Let's see. Yeah, BJ Wandland. He was the first one to come in with at his number 5. And yes, he said he did an edit where he said, "Wow, Discord has a bunk numbering system." So yes, it is very messed up when you try to
it's-
number stuff.
Yeah, it's stupid.
For his honorable mentions, he said, although some may consider it a dishonorable mention, but I enjoyed what I played of it. Star Wars Masters of the Terras Kasi. Oh, sir. Oh, sir. No. That game's terrible.
Let's see.
Did you ever play that?
I remember this game. Yeah.
It was the PlayStation 1 fighting game. It was awful.
Yeah, even the cover art. I'll say this nicely. Out of all the cover arts that have been made, it is one of them.
Yeah. Look, I'm sorry, but Han Solo is not going to win with a blaster against Darth Vader. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. No matter what you say happens in the
Nope.
video game universe. All right, here we go. Number 5, Jedi Academy. Number 4,
Yep.
Yoda Stories. I don't remember Yoda Stories.
I don't remember either. Let me look that up real quick.
Number 3, Star Wars Battlefront, the original Battlefront, not the EA atrocity, which you said a little while ago. Number 2, Rogue Squadron, and number 1, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. I love that game too.
Yeah, that game was so fun. Let's see. Yoda Stories is a 1997 adventure video game. Yeah, based on Star Wars. Oh, it's a point and click adventure game.
Oh, okay. I don't
It
remember
kind of
that at
looks
all.
like the Indiana Jones point and click game.
We might have to review that.
Yeah. Well, IGN gave it a 2 out of 10.
Ooh,
This was on the Game Boy?
I guess. I don't know.
Huh.
Mushmouth
Weird.
in the chat says Terras Kasi sucks.
Not just sucks. So
That's a lot of U's, my friend.
next up, Mr. Wally Phelps. I'm assuming these are in no particular order, but I'll go from bottom to top. Disney Infinity 3.0, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, Rogue Squadron, Star Wars Trilogy Arcade,
Good man.
and Jedi Fallen Order. That's a really good list.
Yeah. I do love Pod Racer. That was the reason I bought my own Nintendo 64, was the Pod Racer version of the Nintendo 64. Because I had my brother's N64 because he never played it, but then I wanted one of my own. And, of course, Episode 1 was coming out. They put out the Pod Racer version of the N64, and that's the one I had.
Let's see.
And up next
you're up
is
next with
Derek
Nick.
Diamond with the Connect Star Wars.
I had to.
And up next, we have Nick, the horror game fan. Let's see. He says, before I get to my actual top 5, my honorable mention is Super Star Wars. No, wait, hold on. He says, top 5 Star Wars game. Number 5, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. 4, Star Wars Masters of Terras Kasi. 3, Battlefield 2, 2017 at launch. 2, Star Wars NES. And number 1, Star Wars Kinect. And he says, just messing with you, those are all the worst Star Wars games. Yes, that is a worst Star Wars games list.
Oh, that Battlefront game made me so angry
Yeah,
when it came out.
Just a little bit. And he says, before I get to my actual top 5, my honorable mention is Super Star Wars. Great game, but very difficult. My top 5 is number 5, Jedi Academy. Number 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. 3, Shadows of the Empire. 2, Dark Forces. And 1, Knights of the Old Republic. Those are my personal favorite Star Wars games, and they're all fantastic and worth playing. I agree.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Next up, we have Raven Ghostpaw. Number 5, Knights of the Old Republic. 4, Jedi Academy. 3, The Force Unleashed. Star Wars third SNES game, which would be Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And number 1, Super Empire Strikes Back.
I like how he writes it, Star Wars third SNES game, and then number 1, Star Wars second SNES game.
Is it sad that I knew exactly what he was talking about?
And up next, we have Riley. Who goes by Riley _5 Legion on our Discord. Let's see. He says his honorable mentions are Shadows of the Empire, Battle for Naboo for the N64. I don't remember that game.
I forgot about that game.
I don't remember Battle for Naboo. I'm going to have to look that up. Lego Star Wars and Jedi Academy Switch port. Yeah, I haven't played the Switch port. I played it originally on, I think, the original Xbox I had it for. Let's see. And for his list, he's got Force Unleashed, Battlefront 2004 for the PS2, Bounty Hunter for the PS2, Dark Forces, and, of course, KOTOR. I know there's some odd ones, but they're ones I played a lot or have memories from, not just the game as some have not held up, but playing after school with friends all together, looking at you battle for Naboo. I think that's a lot of this, too, is that a lot of these games, like I love the original Rogue Squadron for the N64. It's not great, but I remember me and my roommate would take turns playing that, and it was, some of those games are just fun at the time, but man, they do not hold up over time.
No, and some of them, they're best when you have someone to play them with. Like, there's some great single-player ones, obviously, but like the most fun are the ones that you can either play with someone or you just get like a group of people and you might take turns doing the story mode for a single player.
Yeah.
Getting that, that interaction with people is great. Tyler Watson notes that his list was too long for Discord, so
we're always
he
doing his
emailed it in.
last. We'll do his last.
Yeah. So next up we have IR Monkey. His honorable mentions are Galactic Battlegrounds / Empire at War for the PC.
I forgot about that game. That game was great.
Let's see. Oh, I forgot about this too. Angry Birds
Yes,
Star Wars.
I had
Fun
that.
satire of Star Wars using Angry Birds and Angry Birds NASA physics.
That was really fun.
yeah.
Like Angry Birds was really fun at the time, but man, playing them as Star Wars characters was just unnecessary but awesome.
Oh, absolutely. Number 5, Star Wars Episode 3 for the PS2. Looked good, played good, followed the movie a little too well. Literally spoiled the movie a month or so prior to the theatrical release. To be fair, we all knew what was going to happen at the end of the movie.
We knew what was going to happen at the end of the Titanic game.
Yeah, there might be some surprises from A to B, but
Yeah.
the destination is all the same. Side note, next week I'm actually going to be reviewing that game, Star Wars Episode 3, which, funny enough, came out 20 years ago today.
Wow.
Yeah. Number 4, Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. It was fun. Don't judge me. No judgment here.
None.
I haven't played the Skywalker Saga yet. I know it's on Steam, so at some point I will rectify that.
Yeah.
Number 3, Super Star Wars Return of the Jedi for the SNES. Hard, beautiful, and rewarding. Number 2, Star Wars Trilogy, the arcade game. Had the one joystick / saber controller. Beat it at a movie theater I worked at in 98 to 99. Mucho Dollaros Quarters.
Same.
And number 1, Battlefront 2, Pandemic Studios 2005, PS2. What every non-Jedi game should be. What EA wanted and totally messed up. Greatest Star Wars game ever.
Can we say one of the worst companies ever? EA, still one of the worst.
I was so excited for that first EA Battlefront game.
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, you can play it, but you got to give us more money if you really want the full experience. And I'm like, you guys are just
Awful.
yeah.
And up next, we have Mr. Brandon Rutledge. Let's see. He said, I think these are his runners-up right here. Soul Calibur 4, not a Star Wars game, but features Darth Vader and Yoda as playable characters. Both are banned from tournaments for good reasons, especially Yoda in a stupid half-sized hitbox. Star Wars TIE Fighter, yes, the MS-DOS days. This game was especially fun if you had the Flight Simulator joystick controller. Yes, I did. Star Wars SNES Trilogy, all fun, but all harder than a Death Star trench run. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Only reason why it's not on the list is because I have sadly never gotten the chance to play it. Regardless, I acknowledge its greatness. And Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Fun gameplay overall. Main character also in Soul Calibur 4 and is also banned from tournaments. But his actual list at number 5, and I can't believe this got as much love as it's getting. The Star Wars Trilogy arcade game. Always a good time. The joystick works well with every format. Number 4, Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. I'm not a big fan of the Lego games, but I always enjoyed this one. The Lego style humor actually works well with the Star Wars vibe. 3, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. Despite not being a racing game fan outside of Mario Kart, this was a very well done game. Also a shout out to the arcade version as well. Yes, the one where you actually got to sit in the pod racer itself. Those were great. Number 2, tie between Star Wars Battlefront and Battlefront 2, both of the original PS2 versions. Screw those 2010s remakes. My favorite thing about these two games is that you can play offline multiplayer by yourself. Don't have to have any friends, free to play, no problem at all. Number 1, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. I mean, what else was I going to choose? I love this game despite how much I hate the opening mission on Hoth. This game is overdue for a proper film adaptation, and I wonder how many other Star Wars fans feel the exact same way.
Hopefully all of them.
Do it, Dave Filoni. You know that it deserves to be canon, so do it.
If that, imagine if at the next Star Wars Celebration we get an announcement for like an animated Shadows of the Empire movie.
Dude, I might actually have a stroke if that happens.
Well, don't do that. You
Yeah,
gotta
I have
be
to
able
live.
to stay alive to see the movie. Then next up we have Mr. I Am the Rampage.
Rampage.
Honorable mentions: the rest of the Dark Forces / Jedi Knight series, and Empire Strikes Back for the Atari 2600. So much nostalgia. I remember playing this with my dad often.
Dude, I still have my copy of that.
Oh wow!
Yeah. There's not much to it these days. You go back and play it, and it's basically just like, a dot on the screen that's supposed to be, your snow speeder, and you're going up against, AT-ATs, which are just like 6 blocks that just kind of look like an AT-AT. But, I mean, at the time, it was like, holy crap, we're playing Star Wars at home. But you look at it now, and it's like, whoo, what were we doing?
Mushmouth says he saw Revenge of the Sith 5 times in the theater. Funny enough, I did too.
I saw it like 3, I think.
I think it's a tie between that and Spider-Man No Way Home for the most times I've seen a movie in the theater.
Yeah.
Number 5, Lego Star Wars series. They're just fun. Number 4, Episode 1 Racer for the N64. 3, Super Empire Strikes Back. 2, Jedi Knight 2. And number 1, Jedi Fallen Order. I'm glad that game's getting so much love with these lists.
Yeah. That's a good game. If you've never played Fallen Order, it's really cheap right now. You can pretty much get it anywhere for really cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're going to move over to, this is from Facebook. We have Mr. Jacob Craig, our good buddy from the Open Micers podcast. Don't go listen to that. It's a terrible podcast, everybody.
It's the second best podcast on the interwebs.
That is number 5. He says, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. The story for Survivor is all right, but it hinges on your willingness to explore a lot more than the first games with way more confusing maps. The gameplay is better than the first, but the story's pretty depressing and overall lackluster for a sequel to such a good game. I thought it was okay, but I definitely did not like it as much as the first game.
Agreed.
Yeah, Mushmouth said it has a terrible theme song, too, for Open Micers. Number 4, we have Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith for the PS2, a surprisingly fun and cohesive co-op or single-player game where you pretty much faithfully play through the events of Revenge of the Sith, playing as both Anakin and Obi-Wan at times. Whenever Anakin turns to the dark side, you have to slaughter Jedi. It's almost as fun as the Spider-Man 2 Venom mission.
I forgot about that.
Which
too. I'm gonna get to relive it here soon.
Yeah.
So.
Number 3, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Really fun at the time it was released, has a solid story and fantastic gameplay. Number 2, Star Wars Force Unleashed. Star Killer's story, as well as his growing Force abilities and internal struggle with the dark side of the Force really blazed the way for the new Star Wars games in Cal Kestis. At number 1, Star Wars Battlefront 2. For the PS2. Still to this day, the best Star Wars game, whether you're playing co-op, story mission, or space battles. So much fun and nostalgia had playing this game back in the day.
I like that list. Good job, Jacob.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Chad Vrendenberg. Here's my top 5 in no particular order. Oh, we have a kitty sighting.
It's Kitty.
Hi.
Look at yourself in the screen, Kitty.
Yeah. No particular order. Shadows of the Empire for the Nintendo 64. One of the first games I got for my N64. The level where you have to go underwater and fight the tentacle monster gave me nightmares as a kid, and I still get scared when I play it to this day. Ha ha ha.
I hate that part of the game because I'm scared of water. I can't swim, so that part of the game freaks me out.
Star Wars Demolition for the Dreamcast.
Ooh.
Lesser known title, very fun and silly vehicular combat game from the late 90s. Exactly what you'd expect, but always good for a quick pick up and play. I've never heard of that one.
I'll have to look and see if this is in my Dreamcast collection.
Yeah. Episode 1 Racer for the N64. This game definitely doesn't age well, but I had a lot of fun and got insanely good at this game as a kid. There's so many unlockables and upgrades for your pod racers that this one kept me busy for what seemed like years. So much harder than I remember it being. Rogue Squadron 2 for the GameCube. I know it's probably been said, but this game has aged so incredibly well. Amazing graphics for the time that still hold up to this day, and it still feels like an absolute breeze to play, even if it is a bit difficult at times. And Star Wars Pinball for the Switch. I had to throw this one in just because it's been getting a lot of time for me lately. If you like digital pinball games, you really can't go wrong with this one.
I don't remember Star Wars Pinball for the Switch. I'm going to have to go get that.
Yeah, I don't remember it either.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see the kitty. He's got a spike collar. Like like when he sees himself in the camera and he's like, "What? Who's that?" And up next we have Mr. Mushmouth himself, Mr. Mark Simmons. He says, "Please find enclosed my Star Wars game list. Episode 1 Pod Racer bonus, Pod Racer arcade version with the badass little pod you could sit in and control with them things." I agree. That was such a fun game.
Love the emphasis on the things.
Yeah, on them things. Them things. The ape hangers. Number 2, Shadows of the Empire. 3, Rogue Squadron. I don't know where this comes in. Final Fantasy 12. Trust me.
I'm going to need some more information.
Yeah, we're going to need more info on that one, Mushman. You might have to write in for next week, and we'll tell us what you mean by Final Fantasy 12. And then number 1, Knights of the Old Republic.
Good list.
KOTOR getting a lot of love tonight, too.
Yeah, as it should. Next up from Blue Sky, we have Chuck at Phil J. Barfly 74. Honorable mention, 1993 Star Wars. I'm assuming this is Game Gear.
Yeah.
And SMS versions.
Yeah, the Sega Master System, Sega Game Gear and Master System versions for.
Okay.
I remember. Was that the 32X game as well?
Maybe.
Sega.
I can't remember. Number 5, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. 4, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter 1997 for the PC. 3, Star Wars Squadrons for PC. Number 2, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 on PC or on everything now. Number 1, Star Wars 1983 Arcade. Wish I had an arcade cabinet. I only have the Sega 32X version.
Yeah, I think this the version he's talking about here, the 1993 Sega Star Wars, is the actual Star Wars arcade game that was out.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to research that because I remember this arcade game, but I don't remember the game itself. We need to review this because I see this pop up a lot.
Okay.
All right,
I'm all for it. Oh, and Mushmouth says Final Fantasy XII is about an orphan from a sand planet that meets a pilot with a furry partner who go out on a big adventure to fight an empire.
What? Somebody gonna get sued up in here.
Don't let the mouse know that.
Oh, what he say? He's like, I think George Lucas gonna sue somebody.
Sue somebody. All right, you're up next.
He did mention the arcade. Wish I had the arcade cabinet. I only have a Sega 32X version, so that is the 83 arcade version. I'm gonna have to research this because that's kind of confusing. So I'm gonna go back and research that, and maybe we can review some of that stuff.
All right.
And up last, this is the last thing. I think I looked everywhere. I got all the stuff from Facebook and Threads and Blue Sky. So if we missed somebody, I'm sorry. If we missed you, please let me know, and I'll redo it next week, first thing on the show. But I think this is the last one from Mr. Tyler Watson, the fact checker to the fact checker himself. He says, honorable mentions, Rogue Squadron 2, Rogue Leader for the GameCube, Shadows of the Empire N64, Battlefront 2, PS2, Xbox. I played it on the Xbox. I never played the PS2 version. Star Wars for the Famicom. Special note on this one. This is not the same game released on the NES. This one was put out by JVC, while this one was done by Namco. It's notable for the first stage. It takes place on a Java sandcrawler, and the boss is Darth Vader. Darth Vader, who after taking a hit turns into a giant scorpion. It's worth playing just for that madness. Look, we both have Famicoms.
The Famicom,
so
yeah.
Maybe we need to order Star Wars, the Famicom version, so we can. I want to experience this madness.
Who had the fever dream that resulted in this game?
I don't remember Darth Vader turning into a scorpion at any point.
Do scorpions exist in the Star Wars universe?
I don't know. I mean, I would imagine.
I guess so.
So in a desert area, I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
At his number 5, he says, The Force Unleashed for the PS3. This game is literally just a power trip. From starting the game as Vader, destroying Wookiees, to all the absurd things Starkiller is able to pull off later, like pulling down a Star Destroyer from orbit while on a planet. This game lets you revel in the power of the Force. We couldn't have said it better ourselves. Number 4, Super Return of the Jedi. The entire Super Star Wars trilogy on the Super Nintendo is great, but I'm giving the edge to Return of the Jedi because of all the different characters you can play as, along with all the great boss battles. Sure, they're hard as heck, but they never hit the kind of hard where you stop having fun. Well, I don't know about that. The Return of the Jedi is way harder than the original Super Star Wars, and Super Star Wars is already crazy hard.
Mm-hmm.
The Star Wars number 3, Star Wars Trilogy Arcade. Of all the Star Wars games released in the arcade, this one is still my favorite. The flight stick controller works great up until the Return of the Jedi section, and you have to use a lightsaber with it. I did hate that part. Do you remember that when you had to fight Boba Fett, who was like using his jetpack, and you had to use the joystick to manipulate the lightsaber to block his attacks? That was the only part of that game I didn't like. Yeah, and you have to use your lightsaber with it. I once spent $10 on this game and nearly beat it. Played all movies in order, ran out of money at the Vader duel on Return of the Jedi. That sucks.
Yeah.
Wonder how many millions Lucasfilm made off of that game back in the 90s, because everybody played that game.
That'd be a great trivia question.
Yeah. Number 2, Revenge of the Sith for the Game Boy Advance. This is one of the finest side-scrolling beat-em-ups that I've ever played. You choose from either Obi-Wan or Anakin at the start and play through the events of the movie, building up your stats and force powers along the way. If you're playing as Anakin, you get to access dark side powers once he makes the switch. It's definitely a hidden gem. This sounds like something you would have played.
Funny enough, I never played the Game Boy version. I played it on, I think it was PS2 is what I played it on. I didn't know the Game Boy Advance version was like that different. It makes sense though.
And for his number 1, Star Wars Outlaws for PS5. I'm actually in the middle of playing this as we speak. While I'm not done, I am a good ways into it, and so I'm comfortable giving my thoughts on it. I'll preface this by saying that this game got a big patch a few months after release that changed some of the mechanics. I didn't get it until after said patch, but I've heard it was a lot less enjoyable then. A lot of the forced stealth is now optional, though you do still have some forced stealth. You play as Kay Vess, a thief and outlaw trying to make her way on Canto Bight. This takes place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. A series of events causes her to steal a ship, try to gather a crew for a big job. You go around doing jobs and building rep with 4 different criminal syndicates across 4 worlds. Each one is open world, and you get around on a speeder. You infiltrate bases, slice into computers, steal data, and smuggle goods. There's so much to do, and if you get bored doing all that, you can play some games of Sabacc. I also fell in love with her ship, the Trailblazer, which you earn different skins for. This is easily one of my favorite Star Wars games, and I highly recommend it. Don't believe the negative reviews and the YouTube videos.
Star Wars fans would never put out a negative review of anything Star Wars related.
What are you talking about? No, I actually been wanting to play this, but I heard it wasn't great when it first came out. But it's good to know that there's been a patch that fixes a lot of the stuff I heard about it. So I might actually go play this now. It's on Game Pass.
I would trust Tyler's opinion over
Yes.
any of the other YouTubers, because Star Wars fans aren't happy unless they're complaining about Star Wars.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
That could be its own podcast, that discussion.
But I don't know about you, but that was a fun episode.
Oh yeah, I've been excited to do this list ever since we first talked about it, just because there's so many great Star Wars games.
Yeah. This was a hard list to write, man. There's so many
Yeah.
good Star Wars games going back all the way to the original arcade game back in the day with just, the vector graphics. That game is even great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree, Mushmouth. Star Wars sucks.
I hate it.
I hate it. But Derek, what are you doing next week?
Yeah, mentioned earlier, we're going to keep the Star Wars trend going, and I'm going to review Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, for the PS2. It also came out for the Xbox at the time, but I'm going to be playing it on the PlayStation 2. Funny enough, the movie was re-released in theaters a couple of weeks ago,
Been wanting to go.
and it's doing better than like the new release.
Really? I imagine so.
There's a funny social media ad for the re-release where it's a close-up of this person working in a movie theater, and you hear this voice off screen that says, "1 ticket, please," and she says, "To what movie?" And then it cuts to Hayden Christensen, who's holding a Darth Vader cup and a Star Wars popcorn bucket, and it plays the Imperial March.
Nice. I haven't seen
It's simple,
that.
but it's so good. I'm glad that he is.
Yeah.
He's on a redemption tour.
He deserves it. I mean, he did the best with the material he was given. You can't blame him for the stuff that was put in those movies.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
It was Uncle George's fault.
Yeah,
'cause
it was
he's not a good director.
Yeah. Oh, shots fired, everybody.
Hey, I've said this for decades. George Lucas is a great storyteller that does not translate to good directing. There's a reason why, if you go back and watch the original trilogy, the dialogue and the acting is so much better in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Because he
than in A
didn't
New
write
Hope.
it.
And he didn't direct it either.
And Mushmouth says Hayden Christensen was one of my first gay crushes, no cap. Hey, that is a
I get it.
handsome man.
He is. He is.
And he hasn't aged either, dude. Like, he still looked exactly the same in Obi-Wan. I was like, they maybe had to put like a little bit of foundation on him. But other than that, he looked exactly the same.
When they did the saber duel between him and Obi-Wan that was during Attack of the Clones, like he looked the same.
Yeah, they didn't have to do any
was
de-aging
wild.
to him. I was like, what is he eating? Like, is he just like eating oranges or something? Like, what is he doing? How's he not aged in 20 years?
So Hayden Christensen, if you by chance hear this, please let us know your secrets.
Yeah, please. Baby blood, what is it? You're in Hollywood.
It's okay, your secret's safe with us.
But I don't know what I'm doing after yours next week. I might do a Star Wars game, but I don't know what I want to do. So I'm gonna think about it. I might put it up to the Discord, not Discord, but Patreon. I might let the patrons tell me what to review.
Yeah. You got some time.
Because it is the 48th anniversary of the original Star Wars: A New Hope, released May 25th, 1977, and it's my birthday month. I was born 3 days afterwards. So tell me what you want me to review. I'll review anything Star Wars. So just tell me what you want me to review, patrons. Let me know.
I dig it.
But before we go, Derek, is there anything you want to let everybody know before we get out of here?
Yeah, just the usual, facebook.com/plainjanemovie to stay up to date on festival information. All in all, that's pretty much it. I've honestly just been so busy with like trying to get the house in order and with work and everything that I haven't really had time to do any like extra projects.
Yeah, me neither. Been working on trying to get this house. So go check out the Open Micers podcast at Open Micers podcast on Instagram and Threads. And we didn't have a show last week, but we're going to make up for it. And I also still need to do the pickle, the super sour pickle, the blue raspberry pickle that I was going to do for the Patreon last month. And Jacob refuses to do it, so I'm going to make my girlfriend eat it with me. I bought 2 of them, so I'm going to make her eat a blue raspberry Warheads pickle. And we're probably both going to vomit in the video.
Is it bad that to me that actually sounds delicious?
Oh, have you seen them? I got it right here in my drawer.
Yeah, you sent a picture in the group chat.
Yeah,
not too long
If
ago.
you're watching on video, I have it. It's pickle in a pouch, and you can get this at Five Below. It's extreme sour blue raspberry Warheads pickle.
I loved Warheads growing up.
I love Warheads.
They were so
too.
good.
This thing's floating in blue water. So it's going to be a blue pickle. Pickles are not supposed to be blue, Derek.
Yeah, I've got nothing. I was trying to think of something witty, but I'm like, you know what? I've got nothing.
We'll go get you a blue pickle at the Five Below there, Derek, and you can eat it. We'll Zoom and we'll do it over Zoom.
Mushmouth says I believe in sour candy dominance.
I love
agree
sour
with that.
candy. Sour candy is my favorite. Sweet tarts
Dude,
are my weakness.
When Warheads were popular, like back in the 90s and early 2000s, I would eat those things religiously, especially the black cherry ones.
Dude, I would eat
those
them
were so good
to the point where I would get ulcers in my mouth from eating so many of them.
The days where you could just eat so much candy and you'd get sick, but you'd recover.
Yeah.
In like a couple of hours.
Like I said,
now I just go to sleep.
My birthday's coming up, everybody. So if you want to get me something, give me some sweet tarts. I love all kind of sweet tarts. They're good. I even got like after Easter, they had the sweet tarts, eggs, jelly beans on sale at
I've never
Walmart.
seen those before.
They're good. I'm almost eating the whole Easter bag.
I would love for if people are still watching on YouTube, and even those that listen on the download. Why is holiday themed candy so much better than the normal candy? Like, take Reese's, for example. The Reese's eggs are so much better than regular Reese's.
Because they don't have that hard ridged edge. They're just, it's just like soft. It's the awesome soft part of the Reese's that you want. You don't want that hard jagged outer edge. You want just the soft center, and that's all the egg is, and that's why it's so wonderful.
And they've got so many new kinds of Reese's too. Like they have a giant Reese's cup with Reese's pieces inside of it. It's so good.
They're just trying to give me diabetes. I'm trying to make me like Jacob.
I wasn't try. I would never do that.
No. But
it's so good.
But yeah, I'm a sucker for candy, and you're making me hungry. And Reese's are my favorite. The Christmas tree Reese's, the Easter Reese's, and the bats for Halloween are my favorite Reese's. They're so good.
There's just something about Reese's that like you just feel better.
Yeah,
after you eat one.
But let's all go get some Reese's and get out of here. What do you say?
Yes.
Let's do it. If you want to email us at nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. Hey, you can leave us a voice message too. If you don't want to type and you want to just leave a voice message, go to voicecast.app/NCR and leave us a message. You don't have to sign up for anything. You just go there, leave a message, and that's it. You won't get bugged for anything. You won't get emails, nothing. You just leave the message. And go to nerdcaveretro.com. That is our link tree. That takes you everywhere you need to go. All the social media places, all the ways to give us money, like our Patreon, and of course our merch shop at ncrmerch.com. We got all kind of t-shirts, hats, magnets, bags, mugs, all kind of designs, whatever your nerdy heart desires. And if you can't do that, can't give us some money, I understand. Times are tough. Leave us a review and or a 5-star rating on all podcasting platforms. Derek, please tell them what it's all about.
Ancient weapons and hokey religions are no match for a good blaster at your side.
Yeah. I wish
Master Blaster runs by the
I forgot to get a Star Wars clip.
It's okay.
All right. We're out. Well, thank you all for hanging with us on YouTube.
Yeah.
And let me play our little outro thing here. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Go like and subscribe. Tell your friends to come watch the show. We